Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome to lecture 12 and this is the second lecture of module 3. In the previous lecture we discussed about the concept of training need assessment, and we also looked at the advantages and disadvantages of training need assessment. In today's lecture we are going to discuss about steps and process of training need assessment. What are the steps involved in conducting or carrying out a training need assessment. Okay, so let us look at why we are concerned in training. Yes, training can fix the performance deficiency or suggest the remediations, whether training is appropriate or not appropriate to conduct the performance analysis, and what skill deficiency is required to be fixed by the training remedy. So for that, of course the precursor is training need assessment. We are going to understand the process of training need assessment. So the training need assessment can be divided into 5 steps. The first step is identify problem and needs. So in this we will set up the objective of training need assessment, and we will also try to understand the identifying the performance deficiency, what is the problem existing in organizations, and we will also determine the design of conducting the need assessment. So how do we conduct this need assessment and collect data for arriving at the need for an organization's training, and also we will have to analyze the data, then provide feedback on the assessing the training need assessment. Let us look at individually. So in the first step we are identifying the problems and needs. In this step we are actually setting up the objectives for training needs assessment. So we will be determining the organizational context, what context we are going to conduct this training need assessment. We will look at the policy level, goal, roles and responsibilities, because in these levels we need to understand what analysis we are going to do for the training need assessment, and performing gap analysis, which are to be done systematically, because we are aiming at looking at the gap analysis. For that we need to understand the current performance. We will have to look at in 3 different levels: organization level, individual level, and organizational occupational level, all that, so that we will be able to better do the performance gap analysis systematically. Then comes determining the design of need assessment. So how do we conduct, what is the design of need assessments? So we will be identifying the target group who will be trained, either the interviews, methods and schedule, or finally how do we conduct this training need assessment. The people who are going to conduct this need assessment has to be trained, because I cannot conduct this training need assessment if my resource who is going to conduct is not trained. So I need to determine or provide training to these people who are going to be engaged in doing this training need assessment, and I also have to determine or identify who will be the in charge of conducting this training need assessment, and also members of this training need assessment team. Because for every training need assessment I need to identify the responsible persons who will spearhead the activity, and also I need a member who will be conducting this process. So that will be part of my designing the need assessment. Okay. Then now the third step is very important, which we are actually collecting data, because we already identified our objective for training need assessment. The objective may be very specific, sometimes can be generic. When we talk about a specific, we would have targeted, we are going to conduct training need assessment for only for a specific set of employees, or probably sometimes can be for a specific set of a task. So now when we have determined the target where we are going to conduct the training need assessment, now we need to collect data which are directed towards the specific objective of the training need assessment. So in this stage maybe questionnaire will be administered, you will be through questionnaire you will be able to do, you will conduct interview with the employees, or probably you will be reviewing the documents on the existing training, what are the observations made on the people at the training and work. You will also see, yes, there are previous training being provided. You will also see what is the delivery of the training program, what is the outcome of the training program, what is the feedback of the training program, where the employees who have underwent the training program, have they been benefited because of attending the training program. And you will also conduct one-on-one interviews to understand how they perform the task. Sometimes through the document verification, for example, the efficiency document, the productivity for hourly productivity, all that review you will be able to make, right? So for example, in a week, I start from day 1 to day 6, I will be able to see the productivity. Maybe 100% is my expectations, but what is the percentage of productivity being met? And then similarly is the efficiency. Productivity and efficiency can also be tracked through document verifications, and you have to analyze that. Once you collect the data either through questionnaire or either through interviews or reviewing the documents, now we need to analyze. So both qualitative and quantitative analysis you need to do. Qualitative analysis is that yes, you have conducted an interview, what your employees were saying, what are they saying, there are difficulties, is there a challenge in doing the job, what is went into it. Then if you look at quantitative analysis, let's say what is the expectation, let's say 100% is the productivity, against which what is the percentage which they are able to do, let's say 80%, what is the gap which is a 20%. You will be able to see whether this pattern remains same for every day or is it maybe one day. If it is one day, what is the reason? Is there any other reasons or attributes for the one day deficiency? It may be because there may be a power failure or there may be a mission breakdown. Then we cannot attribute yes 20% we need to provide a training. No, because this was the reason being because of the mission breakdown or maybe because of the power failure in the factory. So conducting training will not add value. That's why you need to do a quantitative analysis to understand is the pattern repeats, and you see systematically this being repeatedly seen or observed in the particular processes. Yes, you have to do both qualitative and quantitative analysis, draw findings, make conclusions, so that you will be able to make recommendation on training contents and you will be able to write reports. So that because when you identify deficiency through your analysis, you will be able to provide recommendations for training. Okay, these are the deficiency we observed, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and through this analysis, and we recommend you to develop a training module or a content which can address this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 which we identified through this training need assessment. Then comes providing feedback. It is a generally we will provide a presentation is made on overall analysis to the management people, generally to the bosses in an organization. Yes, you will present, okay, how did you conduct your training need assessment, what are your observations, what is the results of the training need assessment to the boss, so that they will be deciding what should be the next course of action for training preparation, because you would have identified and provided recommendation. Okay, so you would have provided recommendation, then this team will be able to see, okay, how important this recommendation is. Okay, so they will classify importance and how sooner it should be addressed. Okay, what is the seriousness of the deficiency. Okay, so that they will be deciding, okay, so what should be our activity, whether we should immediately set up a task force to design a training program, or can we see is there a possible improvement by providing inputs or setting up the existing system, or maybe doing a job rotation, moving people who are already having a different skill set. So this also important before you decide to go or invest on a training program. Okay. Then now we are going to understand the process of training need assessment. As I said, now we all followed the steps of training need assessment. Now we are going to understand what is the process which involved in training need assessment. We will discuss in detail in the subsequent slide, but I'll try to provide a broader view with this framework. Okay, this framework, if you look at now, as I said, the training need assessment always happens on three levels. One is on the organizational level. This is on a task or occupation level analysis, and of course on a person analysis, because these three are the source for performance deficiency, or this will be the source for what kind of a training my organization need. Okay, so if you look at the organizational level analysis, you will have to see what is the strategic direction? Why the strategic direction? See, organization might have their strategic plans done. Let's say in next 2 years what I wanted to do, and next 5 years what I wanted to do. For example, let's say my strategic direction which says, okay, so I am an organization who are into technology framework. I am looking at, I wanted to be a market leader in next 2 years, or probably I want to introduce at least 5 new technology products in the market in next 5 years. Now look at it, when an organization has a strategy which says I wanted to introduce 5 new products in the market. Let's take an analogy of, let's say, Apple iPhone. Apple. So they have decided that I wanted to launch new 3 different designs of Apple iPhone in next 2 years. Then if that is my strategic direction, what I have to do is I need to build up my capacity, or maybe I need to train my employees on looking at what type of a new technology I can add, what type of an addition I can go to bring from the existing version of the mobile. So that will determine what type of a training I need to provide to my employees. Maybe new technology, then I need to provide more training on to my existing employees on improving the existing processors, or probably the security services being provided on any aspects, right? That's, I'm giving an example. Then comes what is the support that managers is going to provide for a training, how appreciative they are going to be for conducting training programs. So how the peers and employees are going to be supportive for the training activity. That's very important. Unless otherwise there is no support at the organization level for the training needs, then though whatever the effort you put in, then that cannot help in materializing to translate into a performance. Then it is also required to see what type of a training resources which are available. The resources we talk about maybe even the technological, or maybe the trainer itself is also a resource. So now if you do the organizational analysis, it is leading to 2 important things to discuss. Do we devote time and money for training? This is at an organization level decision, because it's not at an individual capacity or a job level we are talking about. We are looking at an organization level. Now, as an organization, do we have a capacity, or do we have resource to devote so much time and money for a training program? In case if we deciding to go for training which is going to consume your time of the employees and also the money for an organization, now what are we going to do? Are we going to buy or build? What is that buy versus build? Buy is, I need a training which what I can do, I can resource out, meaning that I can actually provide hire some consulting company, or I can hire some trainers, or probably I can give it to some academic institutions or other organizations who are good at conducting training for this particular need. Or am I going to build an internal resource? Maybe I might have a few employees who are really skilled. Am I going to create some resources for the training modules? All that. Or maybe other options, rather than providing training to my existing employees, can I think of hiring a new employees who already have the skill set? Yes, it is also an option. As an organization, you can decide whether you want to build your existing employees, or you might want to feel that yes, I think better rather than spending time, resource, I can go for hiring. There are 2 consequences of it. One is about, if you are going for hiring, you should understand what is the strategic plan for your existing employees. Are they going to continue to do the existing process, or you are also feeling that yes, they become redundant, then you are actually, what are you doing? You have used them, they know your organization culture, they've been working for several years in your company. You cannot, if you are throwing them out, you are losing out your opportunity. At the same time, if you are not giving them sufficient job also, then they are underutilized. Underutilization is nothing but your resources again exploited. So it's always dilemma or a strategic decision that has to be made by the management. What are we going to do? Are we going to go for a training? Are we going to hire somebody? Or are we, even if you are going for a training, are we going to use internal resource? Are we going to hire it out for an outsider? These are all the questions which will run into the organizational management level. that when they go for a training program. Now comes the next step for the task analysis. See, the task analysis, we have to analyze the task and work activity, knowledge, skill and capability of a person and conditions of the task performance. What is the task demands? What are the roles and responsibilities if somebody is performing a particular task? Then if you look at person analysis or a person characteristics, now we are going into each employee level, whether the employee have adequate input in terms of their knowledge, skills and abilities, resources, the output in the sense how effectively they perform, so they are able to do the activity on the job activity, then consequences and feedback. Okay, so if they perform, what are we going to do? Are you going to provide incentives? Are we going to provide any remuneration, additional remuneration, or whatever it is? And then feedback, if they are not really doing well, what type of feedback you provide? This will impact on the training and development of a method. So we are talking about evaluation, learning environment, the evaluation of the training program, and then also learning environment, what type of a learning environment we provide for an employee to go through the trainings, and also transfer of training. Transfer of training is nothing but whether my employees, whatever they learned, are they able to effectively use it in their workplace. That's what every organization is interested in. I do not want to send my employees for a training, then they learn something and then they come back, they never use it in the workplace. Then why should I put them on a training program? We are interested in transfer of training. So transfer of training to the work environment. Okay, so as I was detailing in the framework, which I will spend a little time here on organizational analysis. So where it involves whether training supports the company's strategic directions. As I said, yes, company would have a strategic directions. Does my training is going to support, or I need to customize the training so as to support my strategic decision? It's very clear. So the strategic decision should drive the kind of a training program I will have to do. And I will also have to see whether my manager, peers, my work environment is going to support the training activities, and then are they going to provide adequate resources for the delivery of the training program. So as I said, yes, strategy plays a very, very critical role in determining what type of a training we need. As I was given the previous example, technology company will be designing a new tool, then they will be focusing on providing training to employees on new tools or new technology, or the way you need to conduct R&D or your research capabilities. That is what the primary focus will be. So the greater strategic role of training, are more likely that company will organize a training function. So which is very important. Organization analysis plays a very, very critical role in determining the training programs. Whether the training programs required or not will also be determined by the strategic direction of an organization. Okay. Now when we talk about every level in an organization, you have different levels. We will see the concerns of company functionaries in need assessment on the organizational analysis. Okay, company leaders. So company leader, we are talking about the top management. To assess whether the training important to achieve organizational objective, they will have to see whether this training is important to achieve the organization goals. Organization have 1, 2, 3 goals, maybe financial goal, one is the growth perspective, all the different type of goals they might have, whether they will have to determine whether the training is important to achieve my goal. So how does the training going to support my strategy, and or maybe threat to a talent base? In case if I don't provide training, then is it going to make my employees a poor performer, or maybe the training is going to be a threat where my employees are so apprehended that yes, I cannot take up this training. So then comes middle level managers. Once top management has to look at the relevance of the training to the goal and relevance of the training to the strategy. Now comes a middle level manager. So where there is a need to spend money, if yes, this is very important, you need to spend money to train the employees, then how much I can spend. I should look at the financial viability on, okay, how much I can spend. Is there a need? If yes, how much I can spend. Then trainers, whether there is a budget to hire the outside agency or an academic institutions, or probably the trained people who can deliver this training program, or my managers who have certain skill set who can actually conduct the training program. So that has to be done. Then employees, whether the learning is rewarded. The learning is rewarded means yes, somebody is going through a training, what is that you are going to offer? If somebody is showing their interest in participating in a training, they want to, you have to provide and career, reward system in a such a way that the people who go through the training, for example, some organization is they says that every employee for a year this many number of hours is required, mandatory number of training hours are required. So there is a requirement, and also sometimes reward when somebody wants to advance their career, whether the manager will also encourage their members to attend training. That's also important. Okay. Now comes on the person analysis. Person is individual characteristics we are talking about. Helps to identify each employee who need training, and it also include the person characteristics in terms of what, how, and when to perform, and then output in terms of experiencing learning and performance, because we when we talk about training, we are also concerned about translation of the training into the performance, and of course consequences, what is the benefit and reward we're going to have when you are performing post the training program, and the feedback you provide, how frequently you get the feedback, what is the specificity of the feedback, whether the feedback is being specific. So this when we refer to personal characters, we also refer to these each individual employees knowledge, skills, and ability and attitudes, so that we will be able to see what area is causing this performance deficiency, are leading to the gap in the existing performance, are the not able to meet the desired performance, then the training can be targeted towards it. Now we will also look at the process of this person analysis. What do you look at it in the person analysis? So first is the person characteristics. It is a comprehensive process. When you do a person analysis, we will be looking at basic skills an employee need to have when he or she is appointed to perform a particular job role. So every job role there is a basic skill requirement, right? Maybe if you are a coder, you need to know how to code, or a software tester. Similar is the case in a manufacturing. Are you able to handle the tool or an instrument or a machineries? Yes, basic skill. And your cognitive ability, and your reading ability, or maybe the reasoning ability, or self-efficacy, the ability to believe that yes, you will be able to perform the particular task, and the awareness of training need, career interest, all age and other things you will be assessing on the personal characteristics of the employees. And if you come to input, we already discussed on understand what and when and how to perform, and any situational constraints based on the organizational setup, or maybe the incentive system, or probably the demand or a productivity or a efficiency need. And of course the social support we are referring to peer, co-worker, or manager support, and is there an opportunity to perform in an organization, or maybe the environment is not so conducive that you are not able to perform. Then comes output. What is the expectations for learning and performance? Okay, what my organization expects me to learn and perform through the training program. Then consequences. Okay, when I go through the training, if I come out of the training program, what is the benefit if I perform well? How is the rewards going to be given? What is the norm? What is the expectations in my work group that yes, I should possess these standards of performance so that I can remain in my particular job role also. And you will talk about the feedback, which is talking about providing a detailed feedback, a specific feedback, and how frequently the feedback is given. In case you are performing a job and you find there is a deficiency, there is a, let's say one employee is not performing on a particular skill set, then you need to provide feedback, not after 1 month, you need to provide immediately if it can be addressed. So the frequency, specificity of the feedback, how specific the feedback is, rather than you say you are not performing well. Let's say some employees are having a performance deficiency. You call the employee and say you are not performing well. So what does that employee understand? Where does he or she is not performing? Maybe there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is a set of tasks. Now when you give feedback, you should say at this process you are poor in performing, where you lack in executing this particular task. This kind of a specific feedback has to be provided, so that it's also part of a training need assessment, where you will be able to address that whether the training can be focused on this particular process. Okay, so And as we said, factors we consider, we already discussed about this. Yes, in a person analysis we will be focusing on basic skill, cognitive ability, reading ability, and self-efficacy, awareness of the training, and of course the age of the employees who do. And now if you look at the key concerns of the company function, as we discussed for an organization analysis, what type of a thing comes from a different people in an organization levels. Let's say company leaders, management lead, bosses, whether employee in specific function need training. So they will have to determine whether the employee in the specific job roles, do they require a training? Okay, are they really a critical resource for my organization? Then at the middle level manager, who are essentially a supervisor for your in your job role, so they should see who should be trained. Okay, and the managers or the professionals or core employees, who should be trained? Whether do we need to train the managers or my supervisors, or should I train the professionals or my employees itself? If, let's say when a supervisor can be trained, they can translate their training to their subordinates, yes, then you have to focus on training the supervisors. Or maybe if you feel that you have to train only the core employees, that is sufficient, then yes, you can focus on training the core employees. Maybe if some of you heard about the concept of T1T, which is a training of a trainers. So if you are able to train the supervisors, they will be able to train their subordinates, right? Supervisor to subordinates. Okay, so they become a trainer, supervisor become a trainers. So training of trainers. Okay, the trainers, then they will be able to translate the training to the subordinates. Okay, then of course employees, whether the training content will be learned and is it valuable, is there a desire to learn? We have to see from an employee, they feel that yes, it is learnable, I can learn by going through this training program. And if I wanted to participate as an employee, you have to feel that yes, this is going to add value, means it is going to make delta change, right? We are interested in making this a delta change from the current state to the next level. It is value to me, and I have a desire to learn. Yes, I have a passion or interest to learn through this training program. Okay, then the last one is about a task analysis. Task analysis on focusing on the employee activity in a specific job. We are talking about specifically on the job. Okay, what type of skill levels and ability are required for performing the particular job. It also talks about knowledge includes facts and procedures, and ability, which we are talking about physical and mental capacity to perform the task. And also we are also talking about working conditions, which are part of the task analysis. Okay, so how do you conduct this task analysis? Step one is select the job or jobs to be analyzed. Right, you need to select what task I am going to analyze, or maybe a set of job that you need to choose, so that you will be able to conduct this analysis. Then developing a preliminary list of tasks to be performed on the job. For example, let's say A is a task. I have chosen that, yes. Then in the task A, you will be listing down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the task will be performed on this particular job. For job A, I will need these tasks to be performed under this particular job. Then validate and confirm the preliminary list of tasks. You have to validate and confirm, yes, for this job these are the tasks which are required in part of this particular job. For example, let's say sales job. You need to go for a cold call, reach out to people, convince people, offer, negotiate, and all that follow up is required. Then yes, these are the tasks required. Then identify knowledge, skill, task after the task has been identified. Now we need to understand, okay, for this you identify the knowledge, skills and ability which are required to be part of this particular task, so that you will be able to know match of the employees with respect to the task we are talking about. Okay, then again the same case as we did the concerned functionaries, company leaders, what does they have to look at from the task analysis? Does company have people with this specific knowledge, skill, ability to compete in the marketplace? Do we have people with this required KSAs for the specific job in the marketplace? Second is about the middle level managers. What do they have to do? So for which job can training make a biggest difference in a product or a quality or a customer service? So they have to determine, okay, which job role, when we provide training, which is going to make a lot of difference for us. meaning that it will improve the company performance, or it will add a lot of value to my company, it will bring profit, or maybe better efficiency, better productivity, then I need to determine to whom it is very, very important. Then the trainers, for what task employees need to be trained. As I said, for a job A, now I listed on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I need to see for which task I need to train the particular employees. So what are the knowledge, skills, abilities and characters which are necessary. Let's say for 3, which is the requirement, then you need to identify what is that set of things which are required to perform this particular task. Okay. Then employees. So now I will, for an employee level, what skills, knowledge, abilities or competencies are required for a current job and future job and for a career. In terms of every individual employees will have to see what is required for my current job, what I require for my future in case I want to continue and sustain in the company, and what type of a skill I require in order to I want to grow in the organization. Yes, you don't want to stay in the same level. You want to become a supervisor, then you want to become a manager, you want to grow as a boss. So that you need to look at what are these skills and knowledge competencies that I should keep learning so that I grow in the organization. Okay, so these are the references. In today we learnt about steps involved in training need assessment. We also understand the process of training need assessment, and specifically in detail we discussed about conducting organization analysis, and we also looked at the company level functionaries, what do they look after in each of these organization level analysis, or a person analysis, or a person characteristics analysis, and also on a task analysis. So we will be looking after the techniques used for training need assessment in the subsequent lectures. Thank you.